Namaste, hello, welcome to this brief session which is based on Block 4, Unit 4. The title of the unit is Doing Away with Exams. So there are two things that we shall be accomplishing in this session. One is listening and the other is writing. Precisely, we are going to an essay writing. Topics for this brief session include listening and writing. Precisely, we are going to do an essay writing. Okay? So, without much ado, let's begin with listening. Obviously, one simple question might have popped up in your mind. Why should we think of listening? This is something natural. We have been listening to so many things. We listen, and we have also heard our elders saying that you don't listen. So this is so common. But listening is an important activity, something which is crucial for learning. So here on your slides, so there's something from British Council's Voice magazine. It says, it should not be difficult to realize the importance of listening when we consider that it occupies about 45% of the time adults spend in communication. In other words, 45% of our communication time is of listening. This is significantly more than speaking, which accounts for 30%, and reading and writing, which make up 16% and 9% respectively. Now you can see out of 4 language skills, listening occupies the prominent position. Yet, for all its importance, students and even teachers often fail to give listening the attention it needs. This is all the more remarkable as learners often say that listening is the most challenging of all the skills in English. Now, there are 5 essential skills of listening. One is predicting. By listening to something, we should be able to predict. Second one is comprehending the gist or the summary, this topic or theme or the subject of communication. The third one is detecting signposts. So where turn taking happens, where the topic or theme changes, how to differentiate between the details and the illustration. Fourth one is listening for details. For example, when we give people directions to reach an X place, so there, comprehending the gist is not important. One has to pay attention to all the details, how many turns need to be taken and in which direction. And the last one is inferring the meaning. So these are the 5 essential listening skills. Now, let's quickly listen to a piece of an audio text. So this is from your study material. And based on this, so you have to attempt this activity. So you have to listen to this audio text, listening to it again and state whether the given statements, which means these 7 statements, you have to say whether they are true or false. So keep this thing open before you and I'll be reading the text. So today I am going to talk about some general exam stress busting tips. Please remember, you have the ability to succeed. If you prepare for the exams properly, you should be fine. Therefore, there is no need to worry. It's great to succeed, but keep things in balance. If you think that anything less than A plus means you have failed, then you are creating unnecessary stress for yourself. Develop a timetable and phase out your studies so that you don't get burdened at the last moment. Take breaks during revision to keep your mind refreshed. Don't drink too much coffee or tea, as the caffeine will excite you and in the long run make your thinking less clear. Try some yogasanas. This will keep you calm and balanced. A relaxed mind helps you focus better. Do your best and don't judge yourself too harshly if you don't live up to yours or other people's expectations. Now look at these statements, and now we have to say whether they are true or false. You should always aim for an A plus in exams. What do you think? Is it true or false in the light of the text that we have just listened? The text says that if you think that anything less than A plus means you have failed, then you are creating unnecessary stress for yourself. So based on this information, this statement seems false. And the conclusion, false, is we have arrived at this conclusion through inferring the meaning. Studies can be done at the last minute so that you can remember better. Obviously, this also seems false. Drinking lots of coffee and staying awake throughout the night helps you prepare better. This is also false because the text says that a lot of tea or coffee will excite you, and that will make your thinking less clear in the long run. Yoga and any such relaxation techniques are a waste of time. This is also false. Don't stop revising even if you are tired. This is also false because the text advises that we need to take breaks. A relaxed mind and body help you focus better. So this is true because yogasanas, breathing techniques are suggested. What's important is giving your best and not the results. So this also seems true. Now all the responses that we have attempted so far, so we have arrived at via inferencing. Now the next activity is writing an essay. Writing always seems very challenging because we think of writing in terms of the product and not in terms of the process. Whenever we look at the writing question, we imagine the product. Okay, this is how it should look like or read like. But there is a process behind that product. So we are going to look at the process. I am sure that you all are confident of doing a sentence, writing a sentence. So we are going to look at organizing those sentences in a paragraph. Read the following paragraph here. The way we use banks is currently changing. This is partly because of the introduction of new technology in the last 10 years. The personal computer and the internet, for instance, allow customers to view their accounts at home and perform operations such as moving money between accounts. At the same time, banks are being recognized in ways that affect both customers and staff. In the past 5 years, over 3,000 bank branches have closed in Britain. The banks have discovered that staffing call centers is cheaper than running a branch network. Now this is a paragraph and it is structured in a systematic way. In the table that you can see on your screen, you see that the first one is a topic sentence. So this gives you an idea about the content of the paragraph. The way we use banks is currently changing. So change in the way we are using banks is the topic of this paragraph. So second sentence is giving us a reason why this change is happening, because of the introduction of new technology. And then you have an example in terms of a personal computer. And then there are further details. And lastly, so why this change? So that theme is reinforced through the last sentence by the mention of call centers being cheaper than running a branch network. So all paragraphs contain a topic sentence, which is often but not always the first. Other components vary according to the nature of the topic. Introductory paragraphs often contain definitions, and descriptive paragraphs include a lot of detail. Other sentences give examples and offer reasons and restatements. So you can see in the above paragraph, this last sentence is actually a restatement of the reason. Now look at this one. This is also a well composed paragraph. So as we did with the first one, so we shall be reading, but in this case we shall do it silently and then look at this analysis, the structural analysis of the paragraph. So it begins with the topic sentence, then you have the definition of the term. So there is example, there are details, and the last one is the reason. Now here there is another task for you. Now there are 4 sentences given and you have to arrange them in terms of these details in the table. What is the topic sentence here out of these 4? So London has been the English capital for over 1,000 years. For many centuries it has been the center of country's economic, cultural and social life. Followed by 500 years ago, it had become a major river port for ships with Europe. So its dominance is due to etc. So it looks like the C1 is the reason. The topic sentence seems to be London has been the capital. And these first 2, so there is a restatement and then there is a detail. Now we have looked at isolated paragraphs. Now let's try composing an essay. Imagine that you have to write an essay. Prisons make criminals worse and should be abolished. Now here you have the notes to help you. Now drawing on these notes, you have to expand these ideas and develop that into a paragraph. Modern prison system developed in the 19th century, prisons intended to isolate, punish and reform. So there is a steep rise in the number of prisoners in the last 20 centuries. Critics claim that prisons are the university of crime. So the table is arranged the way these prompts are arranged here. And then you have the second paragraph here. So prisons offer society 3 apparent benefits. Provide punishment by deprivation of freedom. Offenders are segregated, so cannot re-offend. Possibility of reform through training programs. And then you have drawbacks. Again, you have 5 prompts here. So these need to be arranged. So what you see here, so the first one is an introductory paragraph. So it introduces the theme, the prison. And then you have the advantages, what are the positives about this topic, and what are the drawbacks. So based on this, so you have a 3-paragraph essay. A similar thing we have to try with a topic which is given in your study material. The topic is, are exams important? Write an essay about 250 words expressing your opinion. So going by the structural organization of the paragraphs we have seen, so we have to begin with something about exams. So there has to be a topic sentence about exams, something about the history of exams, or some examples, not or, definitely some examples. You can see that there are 2 types of examinations. There are routine examinations like class tests, unit tests, etc. And there are high stakes examinations. So in assessment terms, so one is formative assessment. so which is meant to enhance your learning, and the exams which are being discussed here are high stakes exams. So what are the advantages of having high stakes exams? Why should we have exams? So you think of making a few points first. One is they give a fair chance. So you can think of impartiality achieved through conducting public exams. You can think of giving exams give fair chance to everybody. So these are some of the advantages. There are drawbacks as well. So we will study only for exams, not for learning's sake. Okay? Exams create some nuisance, some malpractices. So you make a list of the points first. So try writing at least 5 sentences per paragraph. One paragraph introductory. So there you will say something about exams and then give 1 or 2 examples. Then write a paragraph about advantages of having exams and then the drawbacks or the negatives of exams. So dear students, in this session we have looked at a listening activity. We looked at the cruciality, the importance, the significance of listening. We said that 45% of our communication comprises of listening activity. So this is such an important language skill we all need to master. And there are 5 types of listening, if you haven't forgotten. So one is predicting, comprehending, detecting signposts, listening for details, and inferring meaning. And then we looked at writing. So for writing, we said that sentences that we can already do. So we have to organize them in terms of paragraphs. So we looked at the structural organization of the paragraph in terms of having a topic sentence, details, reasons, etc., and arranging them in a systematic way. So we worked with a couple of isolated examples of paragraphs, then one simple essay on presence, and then the last one was from your course material. So happy learning. Thank you so much.